I actually can't pinpoint a moment when I became interested in science. My parents are both scientists. They both held a PhD in earth sciences, and it was part of our life. I never thought of science being anything than just part of life. And so I can't pinpoint a moment when I became interested in science. It's just part of our family's life. My parents never encouraged me to do anything other than be good at what I have decided to do. Whether that was a hobby or whether that was school, whatever we did, they asked us to do as best as we possibly could. So they never tried to push us into any career direction, and they always tried to give us the best advice for what we wanted to do. As a family, we went out for hiking, and of course, my parents, both being earth scientists, they tried to encourage us to look around, not only doing rocks and minerals, but also notice trees, pick up leaves and learn to which tree they belong, and just engage with our surrounding. And we are surrounded by so much science, biology, geology, physics for that matter, that it just was part of our life always. I can't pinpoint anyone specifically, but my parents had a lot of friends that they had from their time when they were students, people who thought like them, and so I never thought of anything special. To me, science was always part of the natural surrounding of us. And questions like, why did this thing just fall down and not float to the ceiling? They would be explained to me from a very young age in scientific terms, and that's part of just how it was. When I was a school kid, I wanted to become a journalist. I did not think I would ever end up being a scientist, let alone an earth scientist like my parents were, because when I grew up, I was fascinated by research in terms of finding out about something, that curiosity that we all have when we are very young, and then packaging it together, putting it together for other people to understand. And to me, that job was the job of a journalist. And I tried to pursue a journalist career. And all my dad did is making it clear to me, you need something as a degree. That this turned out to be an earth science degree was because I was interested in it. I was very good at chemistry. For some reason, that fascinated me. And other than that, I was very good at languages. You might hear my accent. I am a German native speaker. So German, the German classes, literature, writing, that was of great interest to me. And also English, for that matter. I still remember a physics teacher who was the first one who got my interest lured out from chemistry and into physics and into the experimental part of physics as well. But as with everything, there are good and bad ones. And of course, you remember the very good ones. And he was clearly one of them. He even made experiments with us where we had these superconductors. And we got liquid nitrogen from the university I would years later go on to study. My first ever science experiment was one that everyone can try at home. We had a little bowl of water, a fork, and a needle. And we tried to make this needle float on water. And then we dropped a little drop of washing up liquid into it and saw the needle sink and learned about surface tension. And I had to repeat that experiment so many times. I still remember I drove my grandma nuts with it. I never felt anything would get in my way in particular. Of course, there are always obstacles. There is this test you didn't pass in the first round, or there is something you don't have enough time to study because there are conflicting demands on your time. I am very lucky to say that there was never anything that's really got in my way big time. And for the little things, you just have to work harder.